We're going to take a look at lesson 15, the machine block assignment that uses Solview and Soldraw. Those two concepts can be really confusing, so we're going to walk through it one step at a time with a few different lessons. So let's start with looking at our AutoCAD. So this is the machine block that you've already created. Now make sure that that machine block is on its own layer. You do not create that machine block on 0. If you did, create a new layer and change it to that layer. Also give it a different color. That will help you visually tell that it's on its own layer. Okay, so now we're going to go to layout. When you first go to layout, if you can see the object and the grid around it, that means you've already got a pre-made viewport. That will mess you up. So make sure that it says paper and zoom out and just erase it. Now, before you start making viewports, you want to know what your parameters are. So let's create a new layer, call it drawing sheet, title block. Give it its own color, again, so that you can easily distinguish. And let's make that current. Let's do an insert. And let's see. Let's search for, let's try the mechanical B sheet. Doesn't matter where you put it, but let's just put it at 0. Scale 1:1 rotation. So we just click on that and click on, let's just type in 0, 0, 0. Okay, so this is now inserted at 0, 0, 0. To make it a little easier to locate your viewports, I'm going to close the block. I'm going to use the construction line, the X line command. Draw a horizontal one at the midpoint here. I'm going to draw a vertical one, the midpoint there. So we have the center point of this drawing sheet. Okay. Now, right now we're on the drawing sheet layer. This is one of the few times that it doesn't matter. So I'm going to type in Solview, or S-O-L-V. I'm going to start with UCS as my option and current. Scale is set to 1. I'm going to say 0.1. That usually winds up being about the right size. Then it says specify view center. What that means is where do you want that viewport to go? So I'm going to pick right around here. When you do, the screen's going to get all wonky. Just don't worry about it. Don't panic. Just hit enter. Follow the prompts down on the command line. Specify the first corner, second corner. Don't worry about that stuff over there. Give it a name. Top. Now I can hit enter again to finish the command. I can drag these grips to these edges. It's a little high, so I'm going to double click in this viewport and just pan down a little bit. Now I'm going to lock that viewport so I can't pan anymore. The next viewport I'm going to make is the section just down below. In the instructions, I give you the elevation, but you need to draw a section. So I type in Solview. I'm going to say section. It asks specify first point of cutting plane, and that plane is infinite, so I don't need to pick outside of the object. Notice that as soon as I picked section, it opened the existing viewport. So I'm going to shift right click, click center. I'm going to center on that hole right there. And notice that my yellow line is wobbly. So I'm going to turn ortho on. So it's a straight horizontal line. I'm going to left click, then it's going to ask specify the side to view from. That's kind of like if this was a car, are you on the driver's side or the passenger side? We're going to be on the passenger side looking up. So I'm just going to click in the empty space just below the machine block, but still inside the viewport. Notice that it sets the scale to equal the scale of the top view. Hit enter once, and then you get, again, the yellow line. I'm going to pick a view center. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to select corners of my viewport rectangle, and I'm going to give it a name, section. Hit enter again to end the command. Now, if I project a line across from the section, you'll see it's going to intersect my title block. So I'm going to move this viewport up a little bit. Just a simple move command. It's okay if it overlaps, because I can just pull these grips down like so. I'm going to right click, go to recent input, Solview. I'm going to select ortho. It tells you specify the side of the viewport to project, not the object, but the viewport itself. So we've got left, right, top, and bottom. I'm going to go to the right side. I'm going to project out. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to select the rectangle from my viewport. I'm going to call it right side. Enter. Enter again to finish. While I'm at it, I'm also going to create my ISO view. So I'm going to right click, Solview. Doesn't matter which one of these you pick, UCS is the simplest, so I just go current, scale 0.1, center, enter. Pick your rectangle, give it a name, ISO. Hit enter again to finish the command. And it doesn't look right yet. So double click inside that view and orbit to get the view that you want. Now, for this project, you want it not to be a true isometric view. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. Let's orbit that back around. Okay. It needs to be a little bit more extreme because you want to be able to see the holes. So I'm going to shift, hold down on the wheel, and orbit so that I can see into this hole and into that hole. I'm going to pan down just a little bit. Because it's isometric, it doesn't need to be to scale. I'm going to delete these two lines. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to just grab these grips just for a little housekeeping. Now I'm going to grab all 4 viewports and lock them. That didn't work, so let's go display locked. Yes. Okay, that way I can't accidentally zoom or pan something. I don't like these grids, so I'm going to turn them off. You have to turn them off individually. I'm going to drag these 2 over. Now, because it created the viewports on a viewport layer, I can turn that viewport off. It gets rid of those lines, but leaves the objects. Now notice also what happened by using the Solview command is it created dim, hid, and visible layers for each of these views. For the section, it also created a hatch layer. Each one of these was created and it's all white with a solid line. So we're going to go in and change those, but we're going to do that in the next lesson. So I'm going to end this lesson.